Oh, you got your boy here. Just want to talk a little bit about boxing, MMA. People, you'll hear everybody say it's apples and oranges, and to some degree it is. They're both combat, both different types of combat. Now, there's a lot more money in boxing. Boxing's a lot more developed. And I'm just comparing the two. I'm not saying which one is better because you know what? You're going to like one or the other based on what martial arts you like, what you grew up watching, what your family's like. So you can like whatever you like, but I'm just trying to shed some light on the state of MMA and boxing. Similarities and differences. So I hope maybe this helps some people out with understanding them a little better. Now, boxing is where it is because it's had hundreds, possibly thousands of years to evolve to this. It's limited. It's very limiting, which means it's very precise. So everyone kind of know what you have to do, but people can get really good at it because they essentially. And this is very basic. I'm dumbing it way the heck down. But it's basically you're hitting a person and not getting hit. That's what it is. That's all boxing is. So and it's evolved. So people have found out the better ways and more correct ways to hit a person without getting hit. So it's evolved to the point now where it is. So the reason you can get so good at it, people can get good at it, is because they only have to work on that. Not just on that, I'm dumbing it down again. But what I'm saying is that you don't, unlike MMA, you have to worry about kicks, you have to worry about grappling, you have to worry about submissions, more than just punching and making a guy miss his punches. So it sounds easier than MMA because it's technically less you have to do, but since it's only punching and missing punching, people can afford to focus on just that and get very, very good at that. That's how you get guys like Floyd Mayweather, very, very good at what they do, because that's all they have to focus and train on. So to match that is almost impossible because it takes years of practicing and studying to get to that point. And yeah, that's and the money behind boxing is where it is now, especially because of Muhammad Ali. Joe Louis kind of kickstarted a little bit, but Ali really, really, really paved the way to get boxers paid. He really brought the entertainment value to boxing. He really did, and people knew they were going to see knockouts and stuff, but people also knew they were going to see something artistic when Ali hit the scene, and he was talking a lot. So you got to know him. You got more involved. You could choose. You could be on his side or cheer against him because you got to know him because he always ran his mouth and he was always talking. So he changed the way boxers had to get paid because more people were coming. He was very vocal. He didn't take no for an answer. Stood for what he believed in, and he did it through boxing himself, boxing and Islam and whatnot. But boxing was his path, and it helped all of boxing evolved because no longer people weren't just sitting in front of each other banging out. Now you got a guy moving like that, especially a heavyweight. You had to evolve. So the money is backing up boxing because it has years of it, years of money, years of it developing and growing to the point where it is now. Why you don't have to be the very best in the world to get paid millions of dollars in boxing or hundreds of thousands. Where in MMA, you have to be in the top probably 5 to get $1 million. Anything $1 million or close, and you have to be in the top 10 or 15 or 20 to get like 100,000, anything in that type of level. So, because it hasn't been up, it just technically started in like 1990. So, I would like to say that MMA is kind of where it is now, where boxing was like in the 50s, 40s, 60s, around that time. It's evolved now. Like if you go back, a lot of people don't even know. A lot of people are just into it now. But if you go back, watch the first UFC one. No weight classes, no gloves. people wearing shoes, shirts, whatever. There's the rules. You can do a lot more elbows, whatever you want, kicking guys in the faces, and they've toned it down and figured out the things that are taking away from the value of the fight. They're starting to figure out ways to keep people safer so the fights are more longer, which is why the boxing glove is there to keep the hands protected. That way the fights can go on and you get a better quality fight. It's not to stop concussions or anything. MMA and boxing, the number one injury is a broken hand. But MMA is now, it's starting to grow. As I was just talking to my friends tonight, like saying, like, I want to see MMA in like 10, 5, 15 years because that's when it's going to get crazy. Like, you're starting to see it now with the John Joneses, Conor McGregor's, Anthony Pettis' like with the cage jumps and those spinning elbows and crazy kicks. You know, but wait until everyone's really good at it. Like, they're starting to find all the things that really work in striking for MMA and really work for grappling in MMA. It's evolving really fast, which is why the fighters today, this year, and last year, in the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, are always getting outmatched by the next generation because it's just evolving fast. Next year's fighters are going to be better than this year's fighters, and that's just the way it is because people are starting at a younger age where before it was just adults, people coming from separate backgrounds, but now you got kids learning MMA, kids learning how to put wrestling and striking together. McGregor is doing almost what Ali did back in the day, getting the following, building it, talking, hyping, and still bringing great quality to it. I don't really hate him. I hate what the way UFC markets him, and most fighters, they try to label everyone as the best. But it's very hard to be the best in MMA. You know, it's hard to be the best in boxing for a different reason. But once you're the best in boxing, it's easier to stay the best because it's the formula for boxing is a lot different. MMA, you have such a wide range. It's very hard to be the best in MMA because you could be the best striker and now you get manhandled by a gorilla that's awesome at wrestling or jiu-jitsu. You could be the best wrestler, but now you get knocked out because you didn't know how to keep your hands up. So to be the best at MMA, you really have to do something like what Anderson Silva did and be undefeated for many years because calling McGregor the best right now is ridiculous. Calling Ronda Rousey the best at that time was a little ridiculous. Let her grow into it. She's the best woman certainly at her time, but calling her like the best fighter in history, they're doing these things as promotion, and people have to be able to separate that. But that's the only. I don't like the way the UFC markets its fighters. Let the fighters build, and let the people decide who's the best because it's hard. You lose. You know, if everyone's idea of the best is being undefeated, then you're going to be very disappointed because MMA is very easy to lose in different ways. Sometimes your jiu-jitsu is not the best that night. Sometimes your striking is not the best that night. You might have in boxing, it could be the same way, but there's only one way you're going to lose on the scorecards or someone punching you. For MMA, you have to worry about kicks. You have to worry about checking kicks. You have to worry about throwing kicks. You have to worry about throwing punches, defending punches. You have to worry about slipping, defending, moving, stepping. You have to worry about transitioning on the ground, grabbing, getting out of holds, getting into holds, learning how to use the cage, getting off the cage, getting up, how to not get taken down. The formula's different, and people are starting to learn at a younger age now, so you'll see it evolve in the next 10, 15 years. But what I'm saying is, don't believe in all the hype with MMA so much because it's very hard to prove yourself in MMA because there's so many ways to lose. Unless you're really on a great winning streak for a few years and you fought a variation of fighters, you're not just fighting stand-up guys, you're fighting well-rounded guys or maybe the best at all things, then I can call you the best. I can call Anderson Silva the best. He did it for a long time. I can call the Russian guy. I'm sorry, I forget his name. But he is awesome. I just can't remember his name right now. But he was undefeated for a long time. Fought Nogueira. He did a lot of things. Pride. He's been around. You know, people, it's very few. Again, and MMA is young. Remember that. It's still evolving. Be ready in the next 10, 20 years when people are really good at spinning and flipping and all those strikes. You're going to see some crazy things. Then that's why you can see all the nice shoulder roll, flick me with all that crazy stuff. You can see all that beautiful because it's evolved and people learn to do that. They've taken away a lot of the extra movement that you don't need. So you slip, bam, it's fine. Bam, bam. Where before maybe they used to like, whoa, slip or whatever. You're starting to see MMA guys are starting to throw better punches. They're not just swinging as much anymore. They still are a lot. It takes a lot to get to the level of an elite boxer or an elite Muay Thai or elite Taekwondo guy. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. Be patient. Don't believe in the hype so much with MMA all the time. It's awesome. It's evolving. It's still developing. It's still growing. Boxing is where it is because it's had time. It's made its mistakes. It's learned from them. MMA is going to make its mistakes and it's going to learn from them, hopefully. And yeah, they're both beautiful. I love them both. You should too. You don't have to pick one or the other. You can not like one or the other, but you don't have to pick one or the other. The thing that killed boxing was when they put it all on pay-per-view. They charged all of the fights. When Ali and all those, back in the day when it was coming up, you could watch your fighter because it was on free all the time. So you could see a guy build up, see his wins and losses, see him build up over time, become a great champion. But now, the 90s, 80s, it started like everything was on pay-per-view. So the only way you found a fight is if you saw a guy develop is if you paid for it a lot of times. You had to really search for matches. But now it's free again. That's why the last 3, 4, 5 years boxing has been building again. People are doing it again. MMA is kind of taken away from boxing, and now it's giving back because a lot of people think MMA is too brutal, so they're putting the people in boxing, kids in boxing, because they're like, yeah, that's it. So it's growing back. It's free on Friday night fights, Saturday night fights again. So people are more exposed to it, hands on it. They're learning people. Boxing's coming back. Believe it. MMA is going to stay pretty strong. It's kind of declining, but it's bouncing up and down depending because UFC doesn't market it right, in my opinion. They should do some things different. They do a good job at selling hype shows. This is the best event ever! And everybody, all you wrestling hype heads come out to watch it real quick, and then it's like lackluster. That's okay. Sometimes it is. Not every night's going to be a great night, but my point is that they hype every fight as the best fight, which is why you're let down so much. But if the fight's just free online, you're not on TV, you're not expecting much, and it's great, then it's awesome. A good fight can be great if you're not expecting anything. But if you're expecting greatness, like you did with Floyd and Pacquiao, and then it's just a good average fight, you're like, ah. So, MMA is learning. Boxing coming back. Believe it. That's my 2 cents on MMA versus boxing. And they don't have to be versed because they're both together in it. You can use both to learn both. And a lot of MMA guys are learning boxing, which is why their striking is getting better. McGregor's learning boxing better. He was already a boxer. He was an amateur boxer, too. That's why his hands are... His boxing isn't awesome, is an elite level, but it's good for MMA, which is why he does well. His footwork's awesome. Is he the best? No. Does he talk a lot of shit? Yeah. Do I like him? He's good. I like him. Do I like the UFC, the way they market him? No. No. So, that's it. But yeah, this is my boxing versus MMA video. Check it out. Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me. MRJ, Marcus Robert Johnson Boxing on Facebook. DatBoyTweak428 on YouTube. Stay with me. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm trying to pump these out every day if I can. Love ya.